This is for Davy, baby. Don't call me Mr. Rockefeller. Or, Stephen, or whoever they are. Max. Bandy. Another improvised educational device. So, it's only one game, really, lads, you know what I mean? You're either playing it and doing it properly, or you're not playing it and doing it properly. There's no way of making it suit yourself. I wanted to address this originally because there is some horrible little prude from Miami, Florida that uses the N-word quite a lot. It really annoys me because I think about Jimi Hendrix quite a lot in my life. Quite a lot. And I don't like this person anyway. I figure, God, that word hasn't been used since the 50s or before then. What the hell's he doing saying that? But it turns out he's like 90 or 100 and something years old, some old fossil in Florida. So he was around when he was a teenager when that was being used to oppress or bully people still. Interesting on that note. Say you lived in Nigeria, as I have it understood. You live on different margins in life. I saw some video and there's a professor of economics there, and he was renting his water wells. He had 3 water wells, and he's renting them to the places in the area around him. He's a master of economics, and is a Nigerian economics. So it's very hard to not take, but it's very, just different margins. I know you have to work at very low margins in Nigeria, I'd imagine. So when you go to places like America and you still have Nigerian margins, which are respectable margins, it's not easy to live in these ways, and you have to be very communal and very compos mentis and very good neighbourly. You'd appreciate things a lot more anyway. So it's not exactly a bad thing, but then people said, this is where I assume where it came from, stopped acting like you're still living in Nigeria or somewhere. If you're living in New York, which is probably a much nicer place than Nigeria, I wouldn't say anyone gets cheated, robbed, or hustled in New York City. So these margins, anyway, is actually what I want to talk about as well. It's running smoothly into itself, like joy of wisdom kind of sequence. These margins are part of this big boy game. So you think money is freedom or right or privilege or luxury. This world is very much to do as you're free to be revealed. And that's the thing about it, you're free to be revealed. What would you do granted the opportunity? And every moment in your life is an opportunity. I've said this before. So what would you do granted the opportunity, the freedom? And then this money is a type of freedom. But then you're very much going to be justifiably marginalized, or justifiably held into account of what you did with your freedoms. So if you're a hippie on the dole and you don't have much power and potential, well, you do, you're a very clever hippie on the dole, but you don't reach too many people in life because you didn't have so much money. You would have helped loads of people if you had the money, but you never got this money or had this money. It's kind of understandable, and you probably get through the pearly gates with Peter or something. If you had lots and lots and lots of money and potential to help people, and you didn't, and you used this for bad things even, or even you harmed other people by virtue of these freedoms and potentials, it's kind of to do how do I explain to you? Responsibility, powers, money, freedoms, responsibility. Great power comes the responsibility of it. So if you were a fisherman in China and you're a community fisherman, I always thought this is a very good and ideal margin in life to live by. It's weird, isn't it? You all think money and fame and power and control and dominance. So you won't be led into heaven really if you were you're dominant or you're cheaty, or you want to upscale in life and so. This Chinese fisherman, I think, has the best margin in life. He goes out and he brings fish home for his community. What it means and freedoms and potentials he has, and he gives a lot of food, and he wins more so than any Rockefeller or any rich, wealthy man with all the voodoo and all the Torah and all the souls of men and stars in the world. This man is very likely to do well in this realm, this one game. I would make it sound like a game because that's what they play, they're just big boys. So this is a very good margin set to live by, this Taoist fisherman who just goes out and peacefully fishes and comes home to his little fishing community, and responsibilities and powers and freedoms. So you think you got a lot of freedoms because you're very wealthy and you want more of this all the time. You want more. You're held going to be held. You are held accountable to more responsibility. What would you do? Granted, all of this freedom that you've been granted, so you had a lot more where freedoms to be, it'll weigh against you basically. Your money weighs against you. Freedom to do things, and you can't make a person good. You reluctantly donate to charities or something like that. That just won't help you at all. Reluctant donations. Good for goodness sake. So yeah, now you know about it anyway. These are my IEDs, as I say. Like, I could go and chop off all their heads like Muhammad, but if I teach them, then they have more knowledge, and that's interesting as well because they are also held more accountable by virtue of the knowledge that they had. So if you educate your enemy sufficiently, you shouldn't have a problem because you'll both agree. If you're an agent of goodness sake, then you'll both have to mutually agree in just understanding that it's in their only interest. So that's how you deal with stupidity. That's how you deal with your enemies. You just educate them sufficiently, and then you don't have a problem. So humbly, not humbly at all. People torture me. Yeah, now you know better anyway. I know you're more accountable for it.